And I found it, like, when I saw that look of, like, the long hair and everything, like, you know, like, coming off, like, Con Air, going into that,
Yeah.
I just thought to myself, it would have been cool to see because of the black suit Superman. You know, like, when he comes back, he's got long hair and everything, you know? Would have been really
And
cool.
what people forget is in the comics, Superman did have long hair in that arc. The Path of Superman did have long hair, so it wasn't... They're like, why does he have long hair? I'm like, that's how it was in the comics. So.
Yeah. For a while, too, afterwards, he had... And then he changed that into that white-blue suit thing, that energy thing.
So how do you think this would have worked out for Tim Burton? Because, I mean, you made a good point, but, you know, Batman and Robin kind of pretty much hampered this whole project. You know, they saw that, you know, getting a lot of bad word of mouth.
Well, didn't he do Mars Attacks instead?
Yeah, please.
I know a lot of people like the film. I couldn't get into it. I mean, I honestly would have preferred this. That's just me, though. I want to like Mars Attacks, but just something about this. I don't know.
Yeah, when I was a kid and I saw it, I didn't like it at all. And then it kind of grew on me over time. Like, last time I watched it was, like, last year. And I saw potential in it. It's not one of my favorite Tim Burton films, but...
I think it's just when you have... Oh, they died because they listened to this shitty song. The yodeling song. I'm like, I don't know, man. This humor doesn't work for me. I know it's good, but I would...
Oh,
it would have been interesting because, you know, the guy did Batman. Maybe this would have been... I mean, the guy made Sleepy Hollow afterward. I enjoy that, but... I don't know. Maybe he would not be doing these 50 Johnny Depp movies.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe Mike Keaton would have stayed on a while longer. I think I heard that Catwoman was supposed to be in that too, and it's kind of weird because it would have reshaped history as far as probably the next 2 Batman films at least, right? So it would maybe we would have like an all Tim Burton DC universe. You never know.
Better Tim Burton than Joe Schumacher.
Definitely.
And I like Joel Schumacher, but not for those movies. Falling Down, yes. Phone Booth, yes. Not
Lost Boys.
Lost Boys, yes. Not Batman and Robin.
The best part about that movie was the soundtrack.
Well,
that was it.
Speaking of Batman, kind of moving over to the Batman films, you know, when Batman at the time was coming out, they considered everybody, even comedians, everybody under the sun. Even Bill Murray, which a lot of people talk about, which would have been strange. Chevy Chase, Alec Baldwin, Mel Gibson, but he was committed to Lethal Weapon 2, Emilio Estevez, Charlie Sheen, Tom Hanks, Patrick Swayze, Kurt Russell, Matthew Broderick, Arnold.
Pretty much everyone in the kitchen scene.
Yeah.
See, and Michael Keaton, I don't think was that crazy of a choice looking back, because he did Beetlejuice, which was one in the spectrum, but then he did a drama like Clean and Sober, which is a really good drama. So it showed he could act, so it's like, if he didn't do a film like Clean and Sober and worked with Tim Burton, he can do Batman, but I think he was the best choice.
Mm-hmm.
Same here, and he's still my favorite to this day.
Yeah, mine too. And
mine too.
Can you imagine, like, if Arnold would have got Batman and Sly would have got Superman, like, way back in the day? That would have been weird, man. It would have been cool, somewhat, but definitely Michael Keaton's definitely... It's the Batman I grew up with, and I think, you know, it's my favorite incarnation of it.
And I think Adam West, too, was asked to come back, but he was too old at the time. It was probably in his early 60s.
Mm-hmm. After all those, porn movies he did. Softcore porn movies.
He did porn?
Yeah, he did, like, Happy Hooker Goes to Hollywood or something like that. It's on the I think it's on the Canon documentary, I'm not sure. Yeah.
But, you know, you talk about the role of the Joker. Robin Williams was asked when Nicholson at the time wasn't sure if he wanted the role, and then when Nicholson accepted, they released Robin Williams.
It would have been cool to see Robin Williams in that role, and as the Riddler too. I I know there was talk about that for a while.
Yeah, and for the role of Harvey Dent, at first they considered Don Johnson, which would have been cool.
He kind of reminds me of Aaron Eckhart in a way, in a weird kind of way, you know.
And for the later Batman films, like Batman Returns, they considered Bob Hoskins for the Penguin.
That'd be good.
Annette Bening, I know, was supposed to play Catwoman, but I think at the time she was pregnant. And you mentioned Robin Williams for Batman Forever. He was asked to play the Riddler, but since he was released from the first movie, he resented that, and he would not be involved in another Warner Brothers project until the studios apologized.
Damn.
Yeah.
So, I'll be pissed too.
Yeah, I would be. Yeah, I don't blame Robin Williams for doing that. And I know in the script for Batman Returns, they had Robin, and it was going to be Marlon Wayans.
Oh yeah.
But they thought they had too many characters, so that's one reason. Because he was going to be in this one, and then he had signed for another sequel, Batman Forever. But they pretty much, I think they even fitted in wardrobe, but they're like, no, let's save it for a third movie. And then of course Chris O'Donnell did the third movie, so. No Marlon Wayans.
It would have been cool to have two heroes and two villains. In a way, kind of Catwoman is kind of like a shapeshifter, so I guess she fills the gap. I would have liked to see Billy D. Williams as Two-Face.
Yeah, and he had a clause in his contract to return as Harvey Dent for sequels, but Warner Brothers bought out the contract and they casted Tommy Lee Jones.
And he just phoned, like Jack Nicholson phoned it to the bank the whole way through. He didn't even. He should have been more more dark, not so wild, off the wall. You know, he kind of took me out of the movie a bit.
Oh yeah, talking about Two-Face. I think that's what the problem was. Like they asked him to be like the Joker, and that didn't work out so well. But before Tommy Lee Jones, they considered Mel Gibson. But he was forced to turn down because of scheduling with Braveheart.
That would be interesting.
That would have been. And Mark Wahlberg was considered for Robin too.
Fuck that.
Flipping burgers.
And smoking hammers.
Yeah, stick to Wahlburgers.
And for Batman and Robin, I told Matt about this, but did you know David Duchovny was considered for Batman after Kimmer?
I wouldn't have minded that. I think I appreciate David Duchovny a lot more now than I did back then. I overlooked him a lot. Even though like I used to watch the X-Files and everything, I kind of like overlooked a lot of his performances. And when I see him now, I'm totally drawn into whatever he's doing.
Yeah. It would have been interesting, but I don't think anyone could say Batman and Robin, no matter who played Batman.
No.
Yeah, we talk about Mr. Freeze. A lot of weird casting choices with that. Their second choice was Stallone.
What's the third choice? You told me this.
The third choice to play Mr. Freeze was Hulk Hogan.
Damn.
Time to freeze, brother.
Blast off, meatball.
Should have had Hulk Hogan as Bane.
What would he try to do? Try to do leg drops as Bane or something.
Smashing Pumpkins couldn't even save that movie, and they were at their prime. So,
yeah. Jesus.
And that would have been stupid. Hulk Hogan as Mr. Freeze.
Hogan knows best.
Brother.
You'd be calling him like that, brother.
And then even after, Joe Schumacher wanted to do another one, like Batman Triumphant.
Yeah, Batman Triumphant.
Yeah.
It was supposed to have George Clooney back and Chris O'Donnell, and then you would have Jeff Goldblum play the Scarecrow.
Yeah, and Howard Stern at one point was talked to about that one too. Scarecrow.
It would have been interesting to see that, Jeff Goldblum, but...
Yeah.
And I think Harley Quinn was going to be in it. and the Joker would appear in some kind of hallucination, and you would have Jack Nicholson come back as the Joker for that little part.
Oh, because of the Scarecrow, his toxin thing.
Yeah.
And didn't you say earlier that the Joker would have been Harley Quinn's father in this one?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Which that is weird.
Yeah, it's
pretty weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing could save Batman and Robin.
I remember hearing that Schumacher wanted Nicolas Cage as Scarecrow. I remember hearing that, but Cage was filming Face Off and such.
Not the bees. He would have been like.
But I mean, I can understand why they said no when the Schumacher at the Batman Robbins. Yeah, more cod pieces.
Yeah. They got a little carried away with that.
Yeah, more nipples on you.
Badass. Yeah.
Badass. Batman and the Robin. But moving on to the next film, Total Recall, which there's some interesting stuff here. At first, Patrick Swayze was signed on to play Quaid when the movie began production in Australia with, I think, the director of Driving Miss Daisy. And early in pre-production, the company went bankrupt. Now, prior to this, Arnold was going to play RoboCop, but problems came up with the costume, and it caused producers to drop the idea. But after seeing the movie, Arnold wanted to work with Paul Verhoeven, so the rest is history.
Can you imagine how big that suit would have been? Because you got Peter Weller, right, who I think lost a lot of weight for RoboCop, and that suit's huge. Can you imagine Arnold in that suit? Damn. That would have been crazy.
That would have been kick-ass, actually.
Yeah.
I do remember hearing that before that, Total Recall, David Cronenberg was going to direct it with perhaps Richard Dreyfuss in the lead.
That would have been cool.
And
well,
it would have been interesting. I mean, I'm glad for the movie we got because I love Total Recall.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Patrick Swayze, I miss the guy. Would love to have seen him. But
well, I heard that one of the reasons why Swayze didn't do it is because he was coming off injuries he got from Roadhouse. So that's part of it too. But I heard also that Jeff Bridges was considered for the role.
Wow.
Christopher Reeve was offered but turned down. And
was it Matthew Broderick?
Matthew Broderick. Ferris Bueller on Mars. That's a vacation for him.
That would have been a nice R-rated vehicle for Chris Reeves, though.
Yeah, especially after films like Street Smart would have been interesting. Didn't Swayze, wasn't he considered for The Running Man as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Swayze? I remember hearing that as well, so that's weird. It's two Arnold films.
And I think Christopher Reeve.
And Christopher Reeve? Oh, wow.
For The Running Man.
I love that movie. It's like, I watch it every Halloween. I don't know why I watch it. Well, because I saw it on the gambling channel, had it one night on Halloween, so it's become like a Halloween thing every year now. I watch it on Halloween, but I love that movie to death. That's such a great movie.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite Stallone films. Schwarzenegger movies. Sorry, my mind was still Stallone from before. That's probably my second favorite Schwarzenegger film after Predator. I mean, it's really neck and neck with those two. I love those.
Yeah.
It's definitely underrated.